There is something inside your bedroom destroying your financial future at this exact moment. Not eventually, not in some vague, distant way. Right now, tonight, while you lie down to rest, while your body relaxes and your guard drops completely, something is there, quietly working against every dollar, every opportunity, every door that has ever tried to open for you. And the cruelest part of all of this is that you placed it there yourself. You looked at it, you accepted it, and you walked away without realizing what you had just done to yourself. My name is Rabbi Orendorf. For the past 4 decades, I have devoted my life to the study of sacred feminine wisdom within the Jewish mystical tradition. I grew up in a household where the shelves were so dense with texts that the walls themselves seemed to breathe knowledge. My great-aunt, the legendary scholar Devorah Namit of blessed memory, used to say that a woman who understands her home understands the entire cosmos. I did not grasp the depth of those words when I was 12 years old, listening to her speak. By the time I was 40, I had built my entire teaching practice around them. What I am about to share with you today has been protected within circles of learned women for centuries. Not because it is dangerous, but because it is extraordinarily precise. These are teachings that were passed through feminine lineages, from grandmother to granddaughter, from teacher to student, across generations of Jewish households that built wealth not through accident or luck, but through deliberate spiritual alignment. I am sharing this now because the world needs this understanding more urgently than at any point in living memory. Stay with me through every word of what follows. The answer to what is blocking your money is coming, but understanding why it blocks you requires a foundation that most people are never given. I was not always the woman who teaches this. There was a period in my early 30s when everything I touched financially seemed to dissolve. I had left a stable position at a university in the north of the country. I had invested my savings into a textile business with a partner whose vision I believed in completely. Within 18 months, the partnership had collapsed, the savings were gone, and I was living in a borrowed apartment with 2 children and an obstinate optimism that was beginning to crack under the weight of reality. I tried everything rational women try. I restructured what remained of my finances. I pursued consulting work. I attended workshops about money mindset that left me feeling vaguely embarrassed and no wealthier. I created detailed plans on spreadsheets at 1 in the morning that looked convincing in the lamplight and turned to sand by noon. Nothing held. Every time a small stream of income began to flow, something would appear to dam it. A forgotten obligation, an unexpected expense, a deal that reached the edge of completion and then, inexplicably, fell backward into nothing. It was my aunt, Penina Rozkis, not a rabbi by title, but a woman of formidable spiritual authority in our community, who finally asked me the question that changed my life. She visited me one afternoon, looked slowly around my bedroom with the particular stillness of someone reading a room the way others read a page, and she said to me quietly, "Sevilla, what are you telling the world you are willing to accept?" I did not understand what she meant. She pointed to my nightstand. On it sat a small ceramic lamp with a shade that had been torn along one seam. For so long I had stopped registering it. She pointed to the mirror leaning against the wall, its lower right corner chipped in a way that caught the light strangely. She pointed to the drawer of my dresser that hung perpetually ajar because its runner had broken, and I had simply adapted my movements around it. She pointed to the small framed photograph on the shelf, its glass cracked diagonally from a fall I could not even remember anymore. She did not say anything else. She simply looked at me. And then, all at once, I understood. Everything I am sharing with you today is only the threshold of a much larger body of knowledge. For those who want the complete system, I have written a guide called The Vessel Unbroken, which contains the full architecture of these teachings across 12 principles. It is available now through the link in the description below. But what I share with you here is real, and it is actionable, and it is yours to begin using tonight. Let me explain to you now what the tradition teaches, and why it is so specifically, so devastatingly true. Within the Kabbalistic tradition, there is a concept called wholeness of vessels. The mystical literature teaches that the world as we experience it was preceded by a moment of catastrophic fracture, a shattering in which the containers meant to hold divine abundance could not sustain the force of what poured into them. The great teacher Yitzhak Luria, whose writings form the backbone of much of what I study, described this shattering as the source of all limitation in the physical world. The broken pieces fell, and within every broken thing that exists in our material reality, there is a fragment of what once was whole. This is not poetry. This is a precise map of how energy moves through physical space. The bedroom is the room where your soul is most exposed. Every ancient authority on Jewish home practice agrees on this point. During waking hours, the soul is armored by intention and activity. During sleep, it ascends partway out of the body. It becomes receptive in ways it cannot be during daylight. The bedroom, therefore, is not merely a room. It is a portal. What surrounds you in that portal communicates directly to the deepest layers of your spiritual reality. When broken objects occupy that space, they do not simply sit there passively. They broadcast. They radiate the frequency of fracture. They tell the deepest intelligence of the universe repeatedly, nightly, without pause, that you have made peace with incompleteness. And the universe, which is nothing if not a perfect mirror, responds by sending you more of what you are broadcasting. This is why the money comes and evaporates. This is why the opportunity approaches and then recedes. This is not about your intelligence. It is not about your effort. It is not about your worth as a human being. It is about the signal your most sacred space is transmitting while you sleep. Write in the comments the words, "I am a whole vessel." Say it before you continue. The act of declaration in the Jewish mystical tradition is itself an act of creation. The Hebrew word for speech and the Hebrew word for thing share the same root for a reason. Now let me tell you precisely what you are looking for. The object blocking your abundance is not one specific item. It is the category of the broken, the cracked, the frayed, the dead, and the non-functional. Whatever form that takes in your specific bedroom. It might be a jewelry box with a hinge that has not closed properly in years. A clock with a battery you replaced 18 months ago with the wrong size and never corrected. A small plant on the windowsill that you keep because you cannot bring yourself to admit it died. A lamp with a flicker you have grown so accustomed to you no longer notice it. A frame with a hairline fracture you have covered with careful placement on the shelf. A door that sticks. A curtain rod held by a single anchor. Every single one of these things is speaking, and none of them are saying anything you want the universe to hear. Before I share the full protocol with you, let me tell you what happened after my Aunt Penina visited me that afternoon. I cleared my bedroom that same evening. I was not systematic. I was not even particularly calm about it. I moved through the room with a kind of fierce grief, gathering everything that was broken or dead or frozen in malfunction, feeling both foolish and certain at the same time, which is a particular combination I have come to associate with spiritual truth. I filled an entire cloth bag. I was stunned by how much I had been living around without registering. 11 days later, I received a letter from a woman I had taught a single workshop for 3 years earlier. She had never paid me properly for it. She had always intended to, she wrote. She had finally done the accounting and wanted to make it right. The sum she enclosed was not enormous, but it was exactly what I needed to settle a debt that had been quietly crushing me. Within the following month, 2 other income streams that had been dormant for over a year reactivated simultaneously. By the 60-day mark, I had been offered a teaching position that would become the foundation of everything I have built since. These are not coincidences. I am a woman trained in rigorous textual analysis. I do not use the word coincidence carelessly. Here is the protocol. Please follow it precisely. Precision is what distinguishes transformation from decoration. The preparation begins with your inner state. Choose a morning when you are not rushed and not agitated. The tradition teaches that the energy of early morning, before the full weight of daily thought has settled in, carries a particular openness. Before you enter your bedroom with intention, sit for a few minutes in stillness. Not meditation in the contemporary sense, simply stillness. Let your breathing slow. Form a clear intention in your mind. Something direct. I am reclaiming the wholeness of this space. I am removing every fragment of fracture. I am making my bedroom a vessel that can hold and sustain abundance. You will need 4 things. First, a piece of undyed natural linen, or a simple white cotton cloth, something plain and clean. In the Kabbalistic color system, undyed white represents the highest channel of blessing, the quality called Hesed, which is loving kindness and pure generosity from the infinite toward the finite. When you gather broken things in this cloth, you are handling even the fragments with tenderness. You are releasing them with grace rather than resentment. Second, you will need coarse salt from the sea, not refined table salt, which has been stripped of its mineral complexity and its spiritual resonance. Salt appears throughout Jewish sacred practice as the element of covenant and preservation. When Solomon's temple stood, no offering could be made without it. You will use it to seal the space after the clearing. Third, a plain white candle, unscented, without decoration. Fire in the Kabbalistic understanding represents the infinite light seeking to pour into finite vessels. When you have cleared the broken things and sealed the space, you will invite that light in. Fourth, a glass of fresh water in a clear vessel, not plastic, not opaque ceramic, clear glass only. Water in Hebrew mysticism is the embodiment of flow. The word mazal, which most people translate as luck, means literally the dripping or flowing downward. When you speak of good mazal, you are speaking of a continuous flow from the upper worlds into yours. The clear glass of water is a physical anchor for that intention. Now here is the procedure exactly. Go through your bedroom with complete and unsparing honesty. Open every drawer. Look under the furniture. Examine the closet. Check the surfaces. Look at the things you have stopped seeing because you have lived with them so long. Ask of every object one simple question. Is this whole? Is it functioning as it was meant to function? Is it alive? If the answer is no, and if it has been no for more than 1 week, and you have not taken concrete steps to restore it, it goes into the cloth. As you lift each broken item, say quietly, I release you with gratitude. You held a place here. That time is complete. You are free, and I am free. These words matter. They are not decorative. They are functional. The tradition teaches that words create reality in ways that thought alone cannot. Take the gathered cloth out of your bedroom. Take it out of your home entirely. That same day before sunset, either repair what can be repaired, give away what someone else could use whole, or dispose of what cannot be restored. None of it comes back inside. Once the room is cleared, take your coarse sea salt and walk the perimeter. Sprinkle a thin, deliberate line along every windowsill and across every threshold. As you do this, say, I seal this space. Lack has no passage here. Scarcity has no residence here. Only wholeness may enter. Only abundance may take root. You are creating a boundary. In ancient Jewish covenants, salt was the sealing element. You are sealing a covenant with your own home. Place your clear glass of fresh water on the surface nearest where you sleep. As you set it down, say, let what is meant for me flow to me continuously, like water, like breath, like light. Let it not pool and stagnate. Let it move and circulate and increase. Leave this water for a full day and night. Then take it outside and pour it into the earth. Not the drain, the earth. The ground absorbs and transforms what is given to it. You are returning the water to the cycle. Light the white candle and sit before it in the cleared room for 7 minutes. 7 is the number of completion in Jewish sacred numeracy. 7 days of creation. 7 weeks of counting between the great festivals. 7 years of the sabbatical cycle. As you sit, do not simply stare. Actively picture your bedroom filling with warm golden light from every direction. See every corner reached. See the space where each broken object sat now luminous and receptive. Feel what it is like to have a bedroom that holds you rather than limits you. The Kabbalistic tradition teaches that what is clearly visualized in the interior world precipitates into the exterior world. This is not wishful thinking. It is working with the structure of reality as the mystics mapped it. After the 7 minutes, speak these words aloud. I am a vessel without fracture. This space is healed. I receive with clarity everything that flows toward me. From this evening forward, I walk in the fullness of what is mine. Extinguish the candle with your fingers or a snuffer, not your breath. The tradition holds that breath carries the ordinary, and the candle carries the sacred, and the two should not be mixed in this moment. Now I must offer you 3 warnings, because spiritual practice without wisdom can misfire in ways that are entirely avoidable. The first warning is about intention. This purification must be done for the expansion of your life and the lives of those who depend on you. It must not be done to diminish someone else, to redirect resources that belong to another person, or to gain advantage through any form of manipulation. The tradition is absolutely clear that abundance drawn toward one person by engineering scarcity in another person's life will not hold, and will ultimately collapse back on the one who invoked it, with interest. Genuine prosperity is not a finite resource being competed over. It is a flow that increases as more people align with it correctly. The second warning concerns silence. Do not announce this practice. Do not explain it to skeptical friends or post about it publicly while you are in the early stages of the shift. The tradition teaches that blessing takes root in what is sheltered from the collective eye. Exposing a new spiritual practice to the energy of mockery or doubt before it has stabilized is like planting a seedling and then pulling it up every morning to show people the roots. What you are building here is yours to protect until it is strong enough to stand in any wind. The third warning is specific and practical. If you have a mirror positioned so that it faces your sleeping body directly, address this tonight, regardless of whether the mirror is broken. A mirror that reflects you during sleep is doubling the energy of stillness. It is amplifying, nightly, the quality of inaction. The ancient sources describe the particular vulnerability of the sleeping person in language very similar to the language used for mourning, a time when mirrors were traditionally covered in Jewish households because reflective surfaces could interfere with the soul's natural movement. Cover the mirror before sleep, or reposition it so it does not face the bed. This one adjustment has produced dramatic shifts for people who have tried everything else. Let me share one more thing before I leave you with the final summary. There was a woman in one of my teaching circles, a dearest, a woman in her late 50s who had been a school teacher for 3 decades and had never been able to build any financial cushion, despite a lifetime of disciplined, careful living. She did this clearing on a Thursday evening. She called me 11 days later. A rental property that had been legally entangled for over 4 years had suddenly, inexplicably resolved. She was receiving a back payment she had given up entirely on ever seeing. She wept on the phone. Not because of the money, she said, but because she finally felt in her home, in her bedroom, in the place where she slept, like a person who deserved to receive. That feeling, that interior shift from a person who strains toward abundance to a person who has cleared the path for it to arrive, is the real transformation. The money follows. It always follows. But the wholeness comes first. Here is what you are taking with you. Broken objects in your bedroom transmit fracture into your life and block the flow of financial blessing. Removing them and performing the purification protocol with white cloth, sea salt, fresh water, and a white candle resets your bedroom as a functional vessel for abundance. Maintaining the wholeness of that space is a living practice that continues to open channels that remain closed for most people permanently. You now hold a key. The only question is whether you will use it tonight.